love that shot I had to do for the Taliban with the scarf. Thank you so much, Madam Chief Justice. Thank you. And the Canadian Journalism Foundation. Thank you for so many things. Actually, Madam Chief Justice, I have to tell you a story. I was talking about you not long ago in Afghanistan with their Chief Justice, the redoubtable Shinwari. He was actually showing me the whip that he uses for what he calls the punishment. And I said, in my country, the Chief Justice, the Right Honourable Beverly McLaughlin, doesn't have a whip on her desk. But you know what? He missed the point. He said, I'd be glad to meet him. So, what can I tell you? I am fortunate to meet some of these characters along the way. But in the few minutes I have tonight, I want to tell you why I chose to follow the path of women and girls. I mean, this evening is so marvelous for me. It does bring new meaning to the imposter syndrome. But it did start with what I felt was happening to women and girls around the world. The story I want to tell you happened in 1992. I was in Sarajevo. I'd been there on assignment to do a story about the effect of war on children. And the day before I was to leave, I began to hear rumors about rape camps and information as I couldn't bring it home. And I got names and mobile phone numbers and contacts. And I flew out the next day. I planned to. It was Maybe Airlines. Remember that in Sarajevo? Maybe you went, maybe you didn't, depending on the shelling and the weather. And I got back to Toronto, and I gave the data I'd collected to an editor I know at a news agency in this city. I said, look at this. Give this to one of your reporters. It's a hell of a story here. And I went home, and I waited for the headline. And there was nothing. And I waited and waited. And 7 weeks later, Newsweek magazine had a little blurb in their magazine about the rape in the Balkans. And I phoned the man I'd given the data to. And I said, what happened? He said, Sally, I meant to deal with it, but I got busy and I was on deadline and, I forgot. 20,000 women were gang raped. Some of them 8 years old, some of them 80 years old. And he forgot. Now, I know journalists, many of them in this room tonight, who go to incredible lengths to uncover injustice and atrocity. They even risk their lives in the process. So why wasn't this story a news story when it happened in the fall of 1992? I decided that the women and girls I was following in zones of conflict would be the ones whose story I would tell. Now, some people said, you did this because you had to compete with the other women's magazines. That's true. There are others, some of them sitting here tonight, my children, for example, who would say, well, you just wanted to sworn off to war zones to avoid the parent-teacher meetings at Oakville Trafalgar High School. There's a thread of truth in that as well. But mostly, I was outraged at the things that happened to 52% of the population that have to do with atrocity and injustice and using women in the name of culture and religion. And I'm very humbled that those women allowed me to tell their stories.